Sometimes this place makes you forget yourself.
It's the problem in this industry, they keep hiring these princesses.
And how would you define our culture?
It's a culture of every man.
There's still romance left in this business.
Hi, Marisa. I'm very excited for this opportunity. Thank you for your time. Thank you for this interview. The first thing I want to ask you is, where were you, or how was the moment when you received the news that the second season was confirmed?
I was asleep and I got a phone call from my agent saying, so would you like to do a second season of Industry? And I was like, ah! I was so excited, so happy. You know, we've been waiting for a while and I was getting a bit nervous. So I was so happy that it was a yes.
You were like, no, thank you. I have other plans.
No, I'm actually busy, but never mind.
Let's go back to talk about how did you get into this project, and what was the first thing that you said, yes, I want to do this?
So I was in my final year of drama school, and I got the first episode script and the audition through. Just immediately, as soon as I read the script, like the first time I read the script, I was like, this is amazing. This is so great. And Yasmin as a character, I've never seen a girl like her on screen before. She's so complicated. We've seen versions of her, but we've seen, you know, we've never seen someone exactly like Yasmin. And it was just so interesting. And I felt like I immediately understood who she was. The audition process was long, but eventually when I found out I got the part, it was just amazing.
In this show, we are immersed in this high finance world. I'm curious to know if you actually understood something or the words or how this business, this industry works after doing the show.
Yeah, I mean, no. I think it's really hard. It's an industry where everything's changing every day. So if I was still working under the assumption that the market was in the same place that it was when I was filming season 1, I'd be wrong, I'm sure. Maybe not. I mean, that exactly, I don't know. So, you know, I mean, it's a completely different world to my world, but that's why it's so great to get to play the part and play someone who is fully immersed in that, and that's what she wants to do. And it definitely taught me a lot about, it taught me more about the world than about the stock market, if you get what I mean.
If you can choose one favorite character and one least favorite character, and it cannot be Yasmin, who would they be?
Oh, that's such a good question. I think my least favorite character is probably Kenny. Connor's gonna hate me for that. I love Connor. He's like the best guy ever. I love you, Connor, if you see this. But Kenny obviously is just so mean to Yasmin and makes her life such a misery. So I have to say that I think, you know, in that scene in the dining room where he sort of shouts at her, it's just when I remember reading it, I was just like, it's heartbreaking. So I think Kenny is my least favorite character, and I think my most favorite character is probably Gus. I think obviously he can be a bit entitled and a bit mean and rude, but you know, he doesn't have it easy, and I think he has a sense of humor, which I love in a person. And I think that you know, I would like to go for lunch with Gus. I feel like that would be fun.
Okay. I love your Spanish in this show. Was it something that you learned for this specific thing, or you knew how to speak Spanish before?
So I did Spanish until A level at school. So I did it until I was 18 at school, and I had an amazing Spanish teacher. She was from Chile, and I just sort of fell in love with the language and the culture, and I went to Spain for like a month to live with a family, and I've forgotten a lot of it. So it was hard to kind of like get back into the zone with it, but it's kind of one of those things, you know, if I can read it first, I'll be okay. But if I just sort of like hear it, then it's very difficult.
I want to talk with you about the character of your boyfriend, because all of the characters have this amazing psychology that we can talk about, but this specific character, how do you deal with somebody like that? What did you learn about that?
I think something that I loved about it and that I hadn't really seen on screen before is the idea of two young people who had been in love and now weren't anymore. I mean, at least Yasmin wasn't anymore. And, you know, the idea that when you're that young, you don't want to sacrifice the intimate parts of a relationship and the passionate parts of a relationship. You're just too young. It's not fair to give that up yet. And I think watching Yasmin struggle with her guilt over leaving him, but also, you know, knowing that she wants more from a partner is really interesting. I think it's also hard for young women to say, like, you know, she says to him in the final episode, I'm a sexual person and you nearly killed that in me. And I think that that's a hard thing for girls to say because it's a bit taboo, I guess. So I think what I learned is, if you're over it, leave. Don't hang around for too long. Obviously, when you're that young and there's no commitments there, it's easier. So I think, hopefully, I got a lot of messages that were like, thank God she dumped that loser boyfriend. So
this show is amazing. I really hope that more people get to see it because it's different. It's about gender also. It's about the high finance world is just like the scenario, but we have this a show about relationships. Yeah. But you, after being there, what is this show about for you?
It's a show about power. And I think that, you know, not in the sense of like, what do you do with it when you have all of the power in the world, but when you're only given kind of snippets of power, how do you deal with that? And when you have no power at all, how does it feel to be at the bottom of the food chain?
Talking about these sex scenes that I know a lot of people are taking care of you and all the actors, and you feel comfortable there, I guess. But I guess the first time that you have to do it, even though if you have to follow like a choreography, it has to be something really, well, special in a way and really difficult. So how was that for you?
Yeah, it was exactly those things. It was kind, you know, there were a couple days before I was like, oh, in 2 days that scene's coming up, tomorrow that scene's coming up, and then it's the day. So, you know, it was a bigger deal than just like any other day. But like you say, we were taken care of really well, which definitely made the whole situation easier. I think that the scenes are really important for character progression for everyone and really sort of explain a lot about who we are. So that was helpful. As an actress, I believed in the scene, so it wasn't like I was, you know, too scared. But yeah, it was definitely a new experience and a slightly scary one, but they get easier. They do get easier.
One topic that is in the show also is success. This word that means a lot and can destroy or can like empower a lot of people at the same time. What is success for you?
I think success for me is being happy while I do something. Finding purpose, I think, is the most important thing in life and is going to give you happiness and therefore success.
Thank you so much for this interview. It was a pleasure and I'm looking forward for season 2.
Oh, great. Thank you so much. Thanks for meeting with me.